If you've noticed that you are in a space where you're being favored, how do you take advantage of that to your benefit, but also not take advantage in a negative way, but like excel within it? Because this is a great. Hello, my name is Layafa. Welcome to La La Land. I've recently transitioned into a new career. So this is kind of a series where I document the process, my feelings as I'm going through it, and I share so that I can look back in hindsight, or maybe this would be beneficial to somebody else who may go through a same or similar process. Watch this video diary back. So let's talk about likability, yeah? Likability. In workspaces, we're talking about likability, nepotism, favoritism, all of the isms. And I'm not opposed to nepotism if I can be a beneficiary of it. I'm not opposed to favoritism if I can be a beneficiary of it. So being likable is very important. What do they say? It's nice to be important, but much more important is to be nice, okay? And I say that because in so many different areas of life and workspaces I've been in, I've seen favoritism, I've seen nepotism, and I've seen people take advantage of it. And there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of these things if you use it in a positive way, if you can now be excellent in your execution within that role. So somebody, you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody and hooks you up with a job, right? And you get into the role and you can now execute excellently. Sure. I mean, a lot of people don't perform that way, but that is my notion of things. And I think it's great. I think that likability will get you far, but it will only take you so far. So that's where excellence has to kick in. Your skill set has to kick in. That's where the time outside work, where you are studying and learning and continuously practicing the nature of the role that I'm in. I feel like you have to have a high frustration tolerance. Woo! No, it's true. You have to have, so it is very challenging. So there's one thing being likable, but then can you be excellent when somebody has taken you up in a role and said, oh, actually, I like this person? And the funny thing about likability and when somebody favors you is the beauty of it is they overlook so many flaws, but it covers you with grace. If somebody likes you, they can oversee a lot of things. And if you work in that space of likability really well, if you're smart enough and you try hard enough, you can still, even if you're not at the top of excellence yet, but you can definitely work on it and build on it whilst the favor of likability is protecting you. Do you understand? I say that because I've witnessed I've witnessed a situation whereby somebody has been taken on because they are extremely likable. And when you are likable, people overlook certain things. But then when it came to execution, performance was lacking. And that's where I'm like, oh, wow. This grace of likability will only take you so far. So you have to really be excellent. And there are certain roles where you can fake it until you make it. You can blag it until it becomes reality. Yes. But in the particular role that I'm in, you can't. Your lack of understanding will show. Your lack of knowledge will show. Your skill sets will show. Everything is evident. It's not like being a salesperson and you're pitching and somebody just likes you and you sell really well, because again, to be a salesperson, there's charisma. Charisma isn't necessarily a skill. It's a personality asset, right? These are natural abilities that people may like you for. So it becomes easy to fake it until you make it. There are some places you cannot fake it till you make it. Like, I like to use being a doctor as an example because I think that's something that people really understand, right? Somebody might hire you, say, oh, you seem great, yeah? You want to become a doctor, you've applied for this hospital. Meanwhile, they've taken you on because they think that you would fit the company culture, the hospital culture, the team, department culture, whatever it is. But then when it comes to perform, that actually, if you're a doctor out there, how does it go? But I'm just making the assumption that when it comes to performance, you need to do an operation. You need to do, you can't do it because you don't have the skill set. You don't have enough experience. You haven't had enough practice. You're supposed to have done the homework beforehand before you landed where you are. So these are some of the things that you need to be careful of, or I'm sort of like shining my eye to be really, really, really careful of, so that, not saying that you don't get caught out, because if you're doing things the right way, you wouldn't get caught out. But you also have to be very aware of yourself and your own abilities and be honest. Like I've been very honest in the space that I'm in and said, look, and they are aware that, look, I've transitioned. I knew nothing about what I'm doing before, but I'm really eager. I'm really interested. And hopefully that has taken me through to today, to where I am now. And I'm able to speak about things a bit more confidently and with a bit more assertiveness, To be fair, on my side, I'm generally a likable person for the most part. If you don't like me, that's a you problem. That's really not a me problem. And that might be a lack of understanding of who I am. And I'm not necessarily trying to explain myself to anybody. But I think because I've worked in many different spaces that are in my comfort zone, spaces that are out of my comfort zone, spaces whereby I wouldn't necessarily meet with, say, a certain set of people ever in my life. It wouldn't be my choice. I get along with most people. My siblings would argue that I could talk to a brick wall. That's rude, but you might be true that I could talk to a brick wall because I'm just that way inclined. Anyway, I say that because I think that looking back, I think that likability has taken me to where I am today. And I'm at a point where I'm trying to execute excellence. Obviously, that comes with continual practice, and that will be a common theme within these videos, just practice. I hope that has been insightful. Let me know, how do you exploit likability? If you've noticed that you are in a space where you're being favored, how do you take advantage of that to your benefit, but also not take advantage in a negative way, but like excel within it, because this is a grace that is over you for maybe a certain time period until you really need to kick up your skill set. Have you ever experienced that? How have you used it to your advantage? Sharing is caring. And if you haven't experienced it, think about it. Again, I know some people are like really opposed to nepotism because it is a disadvantage, but this is the world that we live in. Like, even with every single industry, having a large set of friends that will boost you up. I'm like, that's why you're as big as you are, or as famous as you are, or as successful as you are. So these are the things this is how likability can carry you. And also, when we talk about nepotism, because I do have a topic where I talk about, I think I have a video where I talk about networking, and some people networking to see how many numbers or how many connections they can make. Whereas when I try to network, or if I am in networking spaces, I'm very intentional about building real connections. It might not amount to anything, but at least if it's a connection, you never know. Like, if it's reciprocated, it's more likely to go further. Than I've been in spaces where somebody has connected with me, or they've wanted my details because they feel like my role is really important. So I might be considered an important person in that space. But to me, I'm like, okay, sure, but we don't really have a deep connection. You're after another thing, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that at times. However, I don't know, that's not the way I'm wired necessarily. Maybe I need to, because some people do that and they get further on in life. Anyway, that is a topic for another day. I have been going on, just some thoughts. Anyway, until the next one, bye.